What up, YFD fam, or YFD YouTube, I should say. I am here with the absolute GOAT. He's done over, I think, $1 million in commission in total. Have you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
very close. Yeah,
Crazy.
very close.
Crazy. Yeah. With all that being said, the GOAT, Luis. How are we doing today?
Thanks, man. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm chilling,
Good.
chilling. Can't
Awesome, awesome,
complain.
bro.
Can't complain. So we're gonna basically how this interview is gonna go. We're gonna talk about your experience, where you started off, how you kind of got into this TikTok stuff, how YFD or it was the collective when
Yeah,
time.
an
Um,
OG.
yeah, literally OG back in the day. And then we'll kind of frame that to how that helped you succeed as a creator and all that stuff. So.
Yeah, definitely. So, do you want me to like start from the very beginning?
Yeah, start from the beginning. Tell us your story. I mean, I kind of already know your story, so tell it to the people like
Yeah, yeah.
go way back
Perfect.
to the beginning. And yeah.
Yeah, so for a lot of the people that don't know, so everything started November 2023 for me. November 23, before that, I was working as a server. I did it for 9 years. It was a high-end steakhouse. So, I was making pretty decent money. And on the side, I was always doing something, a little side hustle, drop shipping. I started at Amazon when I was 19, launched a product, failed, lost a ton of money. So I started working, and, all the money that I was making from serving, it was all going into my side hustle, which was drop shipping, online selling, just random stuff.
Hmm.
But yeah, so November 2023, I lost my job because we had a little fire in the kitchen. So lost my job, didn't know what to do. I was kind of like against the wall, and I started another drop shipping brand in November, which ended up doing decent. Like drop shipping is one of those things that it's a pump and dump. You grab
Hmm.
a product, it's going viral, throw some ads, make a little bit of money onto the next product. So that month, started doing well. Then December hit, and like all the holidays and fulfillment was crazy. I was shipping everything from China. My price on the product went up. I was not profitable. Ads were not working anymore. So I decided to just get rid of the store and take a little break and just see what I want to do in my life. So January, I was a little depressed and I was going through it, because I lost my job, my main source of income. So I didn't know what to do. January, I started just, researching, kind of like taking a step back and figuring out what I wanted to do. And at that point, I didn't have Twitter.
Hmm.
Had no idea. I was like, I don't like Twitter. I just stay away from it. So I
Yeah, I
decided
was the
to,
same way.
let's give it a, yeah, bro. It was just, I have so many social media,
Yeah,
Instagram for me is Instagram and TikTok. That was my,
me too.
a
Yeah.
lot of my
Once you
attention
get
was
on
going
Twitter,
there.
you realize there's a lot of information on there.
100%, but it's been now that I have it, is one of my favorite platforms, and I've met so many good people through Twitter.
Mhm.
A lot of people complain about how bad it is. Yeah, it is bad like any other social media, but Twitter
Yeah.
is a great tool for networking or for meeting other people that are doing the same thing you are. So yeah, so January I got on Twitter, started messing around with it, and I got hit with the whole money Twitter. So I came across Jimmy, and Jimmy posted about
Hmm.
Sydney Garcia, which she was the goat around that time. I mean, she's always
Yeah.
the goat. She's the goat. But she was popping like crazy around January. She
Hmm.
ended up doing like 100K month for a supplement brand.
Hmm.
And I was like, geez, I started looking into it. And one like the thing with me is once I find something, I like to go deep into it. So
Yep.
that whole day when I was on Twitter, I decided, I follow everyone on Instagram. I knew about Jimmy because before that, like 2 or 3 years before that, I was literally working for this company. It was a video ad company, and they were
Oh.
trying to do the same thing as Creators Corner, right? Put
Uh-huh.
a content creator team. So I was the one building that. So I had an idea of who Jimmy was and what was he doing. But that was like 3 years, 3 years before that, 2 or 3 years before that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got into Twitter, started researching, learn about TikTok Shop Affiliate, and I was like, okay, this is it. Sounds very, very easy to do. And back in the day, a lot of the creators were popping without showing their face, which now is still a thing, but
Yeah. It's
that
harder
that was
now.
my
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. It's a little different now. But yeah, that's what I did, and I was like, I don't want to show my face. Let me give this a try. So I decided to join the collective. That was back in the day. Now it's YFD.
Mhm.
But yeah, right away when I joined the collective, I went through the whole course. I learned the whole, what TikTok Shop is, how everything works. I started getting accounts, and I think that's one of the things that separates me from a lot of people, or a lot of the creators within YFD or Creators Corner. They take action. I think that's where a lot of people struggle. They look and they don't take action, or they take 3 months to, like they always. Oh, I don't have an account. I don't have this. I don't have that. Well, figure it out. You have a computer. You have a phone. That's all you need. Like if
Yeah.
if you don't figure it out, it's your own fault. So yeah, I got an account and I started posting. My first few videos was just, here's the product. This is cheaper on TikTok Shop. Amazon's $50. You can get it on the TikTok Shop for
Yeah.
like 20
That
bucks
was
or
that was
whatever.
the method back in the day.
Yeah, everyone was doing it. So I was like,
I
oh,
know.
I don't have to show my face. I hate content. I don't like to put my face out there. So that
Mhm.
was kind of like my goal. And I did it. I did like four, maybe like six videos like that. And
Mhm.
I started noticing, I was like, this is not working. And I got lucky, bro. Like the first, I think it was, I don't know if it was my first or second video. I got a sale right away. I was like,
Okay.
oh, I'm hooked.
Yeah.
Like this works, proof of concept. So I went back and I was like, okay, this works. How can I make it better? And I started reaching out to Sydney. I started reaching out to a lot of the creators. And funny enough, bro, besides Sydney, the second person I talked to and the second person that helped me out, because he was dropping some crazy screenshots, was Beans. You know,
Really? I didn't know that.
yeah. Yeah.
Dude,
So I
Beans is
started,
the GOAT, man.
bro,
He's
and I met him when he was just getting there. I
Mhm.
remember he posted a screenshot of like I think it was like a 40 or $60,000 a month. And I was like, Jesus Christ. I
Yeah.
was like, I messaged him, I'm like, bro, can you share your account? What are you doing? And his very first video that popped, like that went crazy, his first product was the solar powered bank for like phones that you can connect to
Yes.
your phone.
Yeah. The portable charger that's solar powered.
Yeah,
Yep.
portable charger, solar
Yep.
power.
I know
Yeah. So
that.
I was like, Jesus, he's killing it. Then I reach out to Sydney. I got a lot of help. And I was like, okay, I know what works is the talking head. Let me get into this. So yeah, I mean, first month I started doing talking head. And like I said, I got very lucky, or maybe just the timing and a little bit of everything. The first month I ended up doing like 40K.
In
So
commissions?
in commissions. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. First
Yeah. And that,
month, 40K?
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
wild. That's
Yeah.
insane.
But
To all the viewers out there, that's like you'll come into this game, like don't expect those numbers. That's really, really rare. A lot of people it takes at least 2 to 3 months to get in
yeah.
the 10K month normally.
But I feel like my advantage was I knew what I was looking for ads for my drop shipping store. So
Mhm.
I knew what a good hook
Yep,
was. I knew what, like
exactly. It wasn't all completely
storytelling.
new to you. Yeah.
Yeah, I had some experience. So I was not just, there's a lot of new people that
Mhm.
get into this and they don't know, how to open an account. They don't know like the little stuff, which I did. So it made
Yep.
me move a lot faster. So yeah, first month it was 40K. The second month is, I went back to the board and I was like, okay, how can we make this better? And
Mhm.
one of the things I noticed, I feel like that's one of my qualities, I guess. I have a very good understanding of, what, like there's an opening in the market. Can I take advantage of it? And the
Mhm.
market was like no one was advertising to the Spanish community.
Mhm.
So my
Yeah.
second month, March, was when I introduced Spanish content, and that,
I
I
can
mean,
only
that
imagine.
blew up, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, blew up. And I went from 40K in February to 150 in March.
Bro, 150K.
Yeah. And we're talking
Dude,
commissions here. We're talking
in
profit.
in profits.
So yeah,
That is crazy. Dude, I always tell people if you can speak Spanish, you need to get on Spanish content ASAP. It's still so untapped.
on tap, bro.
It's
On tap. I
crazy.
feel like brands are catching up to it, and they are,
Like a little bit.
advertising towards the Spanish community. Yeah,
If
yeah,
you
yeah. So
compare like the like English TikTok shop to Spanish is just so untapped. It's crazy.
yeah, yeah.
So
It's
yeah,
so yeah.
that's
That's
insane.
that's what happened.
That's insane. Yeah, like That's crazy. Like if you think of like 150 grand, like it's like a fucking like doctor's salary in 1 month
in a
on
month.
TikTok shop. Like that's the opportunity that's here for people. And I feel like not a lot of people realize how big of an opportunity this is and how like eventually it's gonna get saturated too. So it's like
Yeah,
I feel like it already kind of is a little bit. I feel like people need to
100%.
start, especially
Yeah,
people watching this video, if you're seeing this and you're still not doing it, take action. Just go
100%.
and like try it. Even if you fail, so what? Who gives a shit? You know what I mean? Like,
What's the worst thing that can happen? Making 150 a month, like
yeah,
that's the worst thing that can happen,
literally,
literally.
literally.
So
That's
not
great.
bad.
Yeah, so I want to kind of take a step back here. And so you joined the collective. Did you get on
Mhm.
like a brand deal first, or were you kind of just freelancing, finding winning products and promoting them?
Yeah, so when I joined the collective, it was all new to me. I didn't know you were able to work with a brand or anything like that. And that, like I said, that was completely new to me. I had no idea how it worked. So the first thing I did was just, go and look what's moving on TikTok.
Mhm.
And I literally copied Sydney because Sydney
Yep.
was promoting this supplement. So I started, I just ordered a ton of products. And I was like, okay, I know these 5 products are going viral. Let me see how, which one kind of like fits me. So
Hmm.
I started like promoting what she was promoting, got a few sales. It was nothing crazy. And then I found a product that at that point, so it was a 15-day cleanse. Around that time, the 15-day cleanse I came in with when they had like 200 units sold,
Oh,
200,000 units
was
sold,
it
sorry.
this like the
The
digestive enzyme
Yeah,
thing? Okay.
the Millennium or whatever.
Yep. Yep. I
Yeah,
know that
so I
one.
got that product. Yeah, and that's where like everything changed for me. That was my money maker. And
Hmm.
I tried to reach out to the brand, and they were like, nah, like F off. I know you're making a ton of money for us, but they didn't want to build any sort of relationship,
Yeah,
because
that's
brands
terrible by the
didn't.
brand.
100%. And they didn't know. I guess it was just the timing. Everything was so new. So they didn't know how valuable a creator was.
True.
And I mean, I did like close to 1.5 million in GMB for them overall. Even now, man, like now my account's still making money from the old videos that I posted 6 months ago
Yeah,
from 15-day
that's
cleanse.
crazy.
So,
To say that you generated $1.5 million in sales for a brand and they're not going to respond to you, like, bro,
yeah.
what?
Yeah, and I wasn't asking for anything crazy. I just wanted to bump on my commission.
Yeah.
Like, hey, here's my account. Here's how much money I'm making. Can we add a 5%? I'll make sure I double down on the content.
Mhm.
And they're like, oh no, this is all we can do. And
Yeah,
no
that's
retainer, no
wild.
nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the good thing is now
So
a lot of brands do see the potential now, and they'll 100% do that, and probably do that and then some to keep you as
yeah.
a creator promoting for
But it's
them.
too late now. When I feel like that brand, especially with me, they lost their opportunity. They have
Oh
reached out
yeah.
to me. They found me. They found my social media. They messaged me on Instagram. Somehow they found my email, my personal email. They emailed me. I mean, they threw money at me, but like at this point, it's not even about the money.
Yeah.
Now, what I'm looking for is more about a relationship. And I told
Yeah.
them, I'm like, I don't want your money, and I don't want to promote your product anymore.
Yeah.
Too late.
Yeah. They came
So,
crawling back.
uh-huh.
Came crawling
Yeah.
back to the goat.
Yeah, but it was a good run, man.
Totally.
It was life changing.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. All right, let me see what else I got on here I wanted to hit on. Okay. So you started off, you have 40K a month, then you have that 150K a month. When in that process did you decide to quit your waitering job and be like, okay, I'm making enough money here with TikTok that I can quit my job and be comfortable? Like when and how did you make that decision?
Okay, so from November, it took about 5 months or 4 or 5 months for the restaurant to remodel and open back up. So this happened. So it was January. I started kind of like researching. February, it was my first big month. So March 15th was when the restaurant was opening back up. So, it was the perfect timing. And like when when I told you like I saw something working in February, I doubled down and I went crazy on it. As soon as I the specific day, I'm gonna be super specific, and I shared this with Rob because we have a very similar story. The Super Bowl Sunday, so it was in
Yep.
February. Super Bowl Sunday, I was sitting at home with my dad. We were watching
I
the
I
game,
remember you
right?
telling this story. The story's awesome.
Crazy, man. Yeah, and I was sitting there with my dad. I was laying on the floor and I was just like scrolling, refreshing every like 2 minutes, bro. Like, I was making $20, $30 every 2 minutes, 2 minutes. So that day, it was, by the time the Super Bowl started, I think it was like 5 or 6 o'clock. I was already like 3K commission that day,
Yeah.
like $3,000. That's my whole month of working. I was like, oh shit. And then at the end of the day, I think it was like halftime. I was like at 4 or 5K. So I was like, hey, this is it. If I can make 5K in a single day, I know I can open another three accounts, make 20K a day.
Hmm.
So that's when I knew I was like, this is it. But then at that point, you know how it takes a little bit of time to get your money out of the
Yep.
account? Takes
Yeah.
about 15 days or so.
Yeah. Because you have to
So
wait for
at
the
that
product to be like delivered and all that stuff.
And yeah, for TikTok to process the whole thing. So at that time, I still felt like it wasn't real because as in I don't have the money in my
Mhm.
account.
Yeah.
So at the end of February, I had about 20 something K in my account, in my Bank of America account. And
Yeah.
that's when I knew, bro, I was like, even if it doesn't work, I have 20K. With 20K, I can live the whole year. Like
Yeah.
my expenses are super low. I don't pay a lot of rent. I don't eat out much. I
Mhm.
don't spend any crazy money on anything. So like, I'm gonna take this money and just keep running this up and see how far we can take it. So
Yeah.
yeah, that day was when I took that decision. I was like, I'm
Yeah.
done with my job.
Yeah,
So,
that's a fire story. I always love that story because I feel
yeah.
like we all kind of have similar stories to when that first video or that first day you really start making money with shop, you always remember that day. And
Man.
you're like, it doesn't feel real. And it's almost like, at least for me, when I had that day, I like didn't even
Uh-huh.
I'm like, this isn't real. Like there's gonna be a problem along the way. The money's not gonna get to my account for some reason. And then it gets
Yeah,
to your account and you're like, holy shit. This
it's
is
real.
real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's real, bro. Yeah, and that's when everything changes. Yeah, everything changes because you see the money and the numbers on the screen, but it's not, something can happen. It's not consistent.
Yep.
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make it, but it's all that self-doubt.
Hmm.
And you have to fight that, and I still fight it. Like I'm a normal human being. I still fight a lot of those thoughts
Yeah.
of like, can I do it again? Can I make more money? But once you start making money online, especially that, anything over 5K, in my opinion, is like your brain unlocks something. You see so
100%.
many possibilities.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's crazy.
Yeah, totally. So kind of going along with that, because being creative, there's a lot of ups and downs with months and all this stuff. How do you deal with like the ups and downs? Because you've had like 150K a month, and I'm sure not every month lives up to that. So how do you deal with the ups and downs of being a creator?
Yeah. So that's March it's been my biggest month, 150.
Mhm.
And the month after that I made I think it was 120.
Yeah.
And so weird, when I did 120, I was so not depressed, but I was very disappointed on myself, you know?
Yeah.
'Cause I feel like that's what everyone wants. You want to see the numbers getting higher and improving
Yeah.
and getting better. So I
Uh-huh.
did 150, next month I did 120. And
120 is
I
still
was
fucking crazy though. Like,
bro,
what
it's
the fuck?
stupid. So I had to, have a reality check with myself at the end of the month. And I was like, bro, like you make 120, you're fine. So also like another thing, I talked to Rob and Jimmy. Every time I have a little bit of a slump or I'm overthinking something, I reach out to them. And one
Yep.
of the things Jimmy told me was a lot of the people that are doing great things, or the multimillionaires that I know, or brand owners that I know, they never look at monthly. They never look at their income like, this month I made this month I made this. They look at it in years. It can be a year, it can be 5 years, it can be 10 years.
Hmm.
A lot of these guys are thinking about like 10 years from now, how can I
Yeah.
improve? Yeah, so I think that's the way you have to think about it. And that's the way I think about it now. I'm not thinking about in like the month or this month, which is really important. Keep track, make sure you improve every month, but you don't have to kind of like beat yourself up if you don't improve or if you don't do bigger numbers than you did last year or
Mhm.
last month, I mean.
Mhm.
So that's one of the things I just keep myself I don't know. Sometimes I just sit with myself and I'm just grateful. I feel like being grateful for what you
Yep.
have is one of the biggest things you can do. I feel like a lot of people are not grateful for what they have. So if you practice that, like journaling, that was a
Yep.
big thing. I didn't do that before and I do not, I mean, it's super consistent.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think being grateful is probably the most important thing about
Hmm.
not getting in your
100%.
head and
Yeah,
yeah, so
totally, totally. I think, yeah, journaling was a huge unlock for me when I joined CC
hmm.
originally. Do you want to
Were
go
you
into
doing
that
it
like a
before?
what?
Were you journaling before you like joined
No,
CC
I
or
wasn't.
okay.
I wasn't.
Yeah.
And it's always funny because the first couple of times you journal, you're like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, this feels
It's
weird.
it
But
sounds
then
stupid.
after like, I'd say it was like 2 weeks of consistency, you almost like look forward to it then. It's like,
Yeah.
all right, let me get my day started, let me journal. It's like part of your routine now. Um, yeah, I kind of want to build off that a little bit. Like when you journal, because a lot of people who are watching this video either probably aren't in YFD, maybe in YFD or on the fence. Um,
Hmm.
how do you journal? Like give like a brief
Okay.
overview of like, because you hear people say journal, it's kind of like a buzzword at this point. Uh,
Yeah.
because I know we as creators, we journal in a pretty specific way. So if you kind of want to quickly walk through that, I think that'd be beneficial for people.
Yeah. I feel like there's no like right or wrong way. I've had a lot of conversations with different creators and they ask me like very specific, like how do you do it? Do you have like a template? Like no, like I don't have any of that. I go by how I feel that day. One of the things I always do just so I can track how I was feeling that day and I can like pinpoint, like yesterday I was feeling great. So what did I do yesterday that I'm not doing today? So that's always been one of my things that I do. For example, I always start with, today, like literally today I woke up early, I feel great, got my workout in,
Yeah.
blah, 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 blah. Kind of like a little bit of a, story of my day. And I
Yep.
usually do it at the end of the night, like my journaling at the end of the night. So like I can kind of like track my day. So I
Hmm.
do a little note of how my day was and how I feel and if I made like X amount of money or whatever happened that day, I kind of like log it in. And
Yep.
then I also, I do what I'm grateful for. I do like 2 or 3 things that I'm grateful for. And then also things that I'm kind of like aiming to do. For example, I always say like in the present, I have 100K month this month, or
Mhm.
I bought or a car for my mom, or
Yep.
I send money to my mom or something like that. But it's like it already happened.
Yeah.
I always write it
That
that way.
that's the
Uh,
that's the journaling sauce right there.
uh-huh.
Not a lot of people do is because it tricks your subconscious mind into thinking that these things already happened.
Yeah,
And then you
yeah,
start acting as the person as if it already happened, which is then that shit just falls into place and time has to catch up to you. So
yeah, bro. One of my
that's the sauce
biggest
right there.
inspirations, even when I was, not making much money or anything like that, or I was just a regular. I'm still a regular person, but when I was serving, I just had like a normal job.
Hmm.
I always look into. I used to listen to Conor McGregor.
Yep.
He has a lot of that, mindset of like be who you want to, or be who you want to be,
Hmm.
or something along those lines. But it's always the mentality of like you want to be there, act like that person, act like you already have it. So
Hmm.
I always act that way. I was always talking about me making so much money
Yep.
and me having this and having that, even before I when I didn't have anything. I want the car, I want this, I want a Rolex. I was always talking about it, and I was talking about them making money. And when it happened, it
Hmm.
just it didn't feel it felt normal because I was already kind of like in that mindset.
Yeah.
So yeah, the law of attraction is real.
Yeah, dude, 100%. I totally
Hmm.
agree. And having an abundance mindset is huge. Just knowing
Hmm.
that opportunities will always come to you if you have the right mindset. And that shit you
100%.
know is just not having a scarcity mindset, you know what I mean? And that's something that I struggled with a little bit at the beginning of
Hmm.
my creative journey because I had like one good month and I was like, okay, like that might be it. Like, I don't know. Like, you gotta have the mindset that that shit's gonna keep happening. It's gonna keep repeating itself.
Yep. Yep.
So that's another
100%.
big thing. All right. My next question is kind of looking ahead. What does the future look like for Luis?
The
Like,
future. Oh
what are you
man.
thinking like down the line here? Like what do you got planned?
Yeah, well, so one of the things I did last year, I made as much money as possible.
Hmm.
And about 6 months ago, we launched the brand. I
Yep.
launched a brand. So I have equity on, right now I have equity on three brands. But one of
Fire.
them is kind of like my main one, and I'm running operations for that brand. So I'm very involved in what goes on manufacturing, like everything else, creators. So now I wanted to just do something else, and content's still there, content still works, but I haven't been super consistent now because my whole focus is on the brand.
Yep.
So right now we launched the brand in December was when it went live, but we had a lot of issues. So December, January, we couldn't do anything. Amazon was down, TikTok Shop was down.
Yep.
So February was our first month with the brand, and first month we did close to 150. Second month we did like close to 300,000 in revenue.
Ah,
So
let's
yeah, that's kind of
go.
like my main focus right now, and I think there's a lot of potential with the brand. So, like the first step was being a creator, learning everything about content
Yep.
creation, making a bit of money. Then what's the next step? At least for me, it was getting into the brand side.
Hmm.
So, I partnered up with Rob, which is, I mean,
Hmm. He's
it's
the
Rob
goat.
Oliver. You can
Yeah,
never go
he's the
wrong with
fucking
him.
goat. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Like there's a saying, if you know Rob, you can never fail. So which I totally agree.
Dude,
And
literally.
also CC, when
Hmm.
you combine those two, it's impossible to fail.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, so like there's a blueprint, and I'm literally taking the same actions that I took when I was a content creator, just getting started. Who's the GOAT when it comes to brands? Rob. Let me go and talk to him. Let me go and talk to Jimmy. How can, I improve? So it's like literally the same thing. Go to the people that are already doing big things, learn from them, and apply it to
Mhm.
yourself. So that's what we're doing right now.
Fire.
Um, the brand is I truly believe like we will do like $10 million this year, if not
Let's
more.
go.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
It's
hype.
yeah, and that's kind of like the I don't have anything on my plate right now besides the brand, and that's gonna be my
Yeah.
focus for the next like two
Yeah.
to three
Which is the
years.
best thing. You don't want to get scatterbrained. If you
Yeah,
have too much shit going on, it's hard to like lock in and go all in on one.
yeah.
And so
So
I asked that last question because I know you're doing shit on the brand side and all that stuff. And I want the people out there to realize that it all kind of starts like if you want to get into this brand building game, you got to learn content first. It's really hard
100%.
to go from a normal person not really knowing TikTok shop anything just to owning a brand and scaling it. You got to learn the basics first, um,
Hmm.
and kind of not go through the ringer, because hold on, I just got a Zoom notification. All right, we got 10 minutes.
Okay, perfect, perfect.
Oh yeah, we're wrapping up anyways. But like not go through the ringer of being a content creator because it's super lucrative right now, but you got to learn the basics. And then with
Hmm.
that, like for example, like my journey right now, I started content creator, learned it, did well. Now I'm a brand manager. And I'm
Hmm.
still learning that, still trying to master that, and eventually launching your own brand. Like that's kind of the route that if you want
Hmm.
to, you can't just go from A to C, you got to go
Yeah,
A, B, C. So I think it's really important to mention that it all kind of starts with being a content creator, and then you can kind of get into more, you do really well, you can get into management positions, and with that,
yeah,
then you can kind of launch your own brand and figure, um, the real stuff out where the real
100%.
money is if you own a fucking brand doing $10 million annually, you sell that shit, crazy exit,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, and that's the goal. But yeah, I
100%.
think you're so right with, and I feel like YFD, CC, and everything else is a blueprint.
Mhm.
They're literally giving you the tools. You can start as a content
Literally.
creator, prove yourself that you can do well, get into brand management, and then you can, things will. It's so funny when a lot of people ask me like, are you reaching out to all these people? Are you like asking brands to like work with you? Everything was not handed to me, but I was showing proof of what I was doing. It was working, and then
Mhm.
opportunities come your way. But you have, like you said, you have to put in the work, put in the reps, so you get the results and
Totally.
opportunities.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Totally. Yeah. All right. So I got one more question left. This is kind of a general question, so it might be a little
Okay.
hard to answer. But if you had to give like one piece of advice to someone watching this video who isn't in YFD or Creators Corner, they're seeing all this TikTok shop shit, and they're like, I want to get into this game. I don't really know what to do, but like, what's like one piece of advice that you would give them to take?
Uh, Number one piece, it keeps changing. As I learn more and as I go through this process and just, get older, one of the biggest things that I will say is learn faster so you can implement and execute. And by that, I mean pay someone to learn what you want to do or where you want to be at
Hmm.
faster. Because I feel like that when I was on the other side, when I was watching YouTube videos about how to drop ship, how to create content, it's a long process because you have to learn so many little things.
Yep.
So instead of doing that, save a little bit of money. And that's also another thing. Like you cannot make more money if you don't have money. You cannot start a business or content creating with $0. I don't
Hmm.
care what anyone says, you cannot do it because you need at least $1,000 just to get started.
Yep.
One is learn faster, and that's by buying a course, getting a call with someone that is doing what you want to do,
Hmm.
which I've done. I've spent so much money on courses or on just calls, like 30-minute calls. I paid $1,000 for a 30-minute call with someone.
Hmm.
So if you can learn faster, that's key. So, like joining YFD for me
Yeah.
was life changing because that thing, I learned faster, I learned how to do it right, and I started implementing and 40K first month. So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely just learn faster.
Yep. Yep. I think kind of building a lot of that is fail and fail fast and then learn from your
Yes.
failures. Um, like post 3 videos a day. And if one gets 500 views, the other two get 100, look at that video. Hey, why did this get
Hmm.
500? Another one still got
Yes.
100. And it's like, don't focus on, oh, these two sucked. Like, focus on the good one and why the good one too good. And then
Yeah.
remake that, make that better. Look at, like, especially in YFD and in CC, in these communities, people are so like willing to help. So
Yes.
getting in a community, and I'm not even saying this just to like plug CC and YFD. I'm just saying getting in a community in general of creators makes it like so much easier. Because like for example, in YFD every week I give feedback on any person who drops a video and feedback, and it's like
Hmm.
that information, getting like a second pair of eyes on a piece of content, if you were just on your own, that
Yeah.
will pay dividends in the long run. So yeah, I think my advice to someone watch this video is just getting in a fucking community of people, of like-minded individuals is absolutely life-changing.
Yeah. And everything will like your life will improve, like 100%
Yeah.
because that's, like me going to Charleston tomorrow to hang
Yep.
out with the guys.
Yep.
Last during the meetup, you know,
Yeah.
during the meetup, I learned something that we're implementing right now in my business by talking to one of the creators that is in the same space. That right now it's about to generate like up over $100,000 for us
Yeah.
on the brand. Like one little piece of advice,
Mhm.
that I took, I implemented, and now it's,
Mhm.
100xing what we
Yeah.
were doing
There's
before.
sick.
So it's crazy. And you can do that with everything in life. You can do that with money, you can do that with relationships. It's so many of those things.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely that's
Fire.
a probably number one piece of advice.
Yeah. Fire. That's all I got for this interview. Luis, fucking goat. Always dropping sauce on here. Actually insane. And I'm so excited to see what he's gonna do in the future because his trajectory has just been fucking to the moon. So
Yeah, bro.
absolutely exciting stuff. And yeah, a lot of sauce dropped here. Guys, if you haven't decided to join YFD or join CC yet, and you want to get in TikTok shop, I'm not even saying this is like a shameless plug. Like, fucking join it. Like, there is like, especially YFD, it's $49 a month, I think, or maybe
Nothing, man.
around there. Like, that's nothing. That's literally,
Yeah,
and you'll make all
especially
the money back within like the first 3 days because you can do shit in the opportunities channel, all that shit.
it's
You can do
yeah.
some reviews or so, like it's so easy to make your money back. So, I mean, if you guys are on the fence, take that fucking risk. Take action. That's the most important thing you can do. If you click off this video and just go watch another video, that's you're just what is that called? Like mental masturbation or whatever they call it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
I mean, what else? Like, we're literally like proof. Like, we were made in YFD and CC. You know, like we're
literally
proof of
joined
this
CC
works.
a year ago. I've been in the shit
It,
for only a year. And like we're already, I know, crazy.
and there's nothing else that you can do for a year and change your life like
Yeah.
this opportunity right now. And
Hmm.
like you said, it's not gonna be here for forever.
Hmm.
So if you want to
100%.
join, do it now and start implementing and executing.
Hmm.
So yeah, YFD is definitely first step, 100%.
100%. All right.
So
Well, that's all I got. Luis is the GOAT. And yeah, we will catch you guys in the next interview.
see y'all.